Hello, yes, welcome back. You're watching a YouTube video right now, but I want to show you something. This is what I see when you're watching me, and I think it's a little bit interesting that I see this, but you don't. So I want to talk about it a little bit. When I first started making videos, I was kind of surprised by how many different things I had never accounted for and how many different variables there were at play. I thought I had like an idea of what the production process should look like, I script and then I record and then I edit it, something along those lines. But I didn't realize how many little granular details there would be, things that even if I had known, like a official or standard production process, I would have never really anticipated without just doing it myself. I found that for a lot of things, usually stuff is more complicated than you think it is until you actually do it yourself. You get your hands on it. I came out here to record, to find a shot. You have to do a lot of steps that you don't really think about, and I haven't recorded in a while. You got to lug all of your equipment over. You got to make sure you brought extra batteries because sometimes your batteries die. Finding a shot is a little bit jankier than you realize too. I might look like I'm out of nature, but just 100 feet away that way, not even that far away that way, there's trails, and if somebody walks by, they'll see me. And I don't like being seen when I'm recording a video, so that adds some complications. If somebody does see me, I just have to deal with it, but it makes things a little bit harder. The clouds in the sky pass by the sun, and they change the lighting of the scene surprisingly dramatically. Fixing this in post is a pain in the ass, and a lot of people just don't deal with it. All kinds of little different things that complicate stuff. They don't really realize until you actually do it. A while back, I got the opportunity to visit an editing house, a professional editing house, so I could get some time shadowing a professional editor and see what that process looked like to learn a bit for myself. While we were watching the film back, there was a famous actor, Danny DeVito, in the footage. And something that really struck me was the way that when the cameras were like rolling, like they're always constantly rolling, like they just capture everything. But when the scene is on, they hit the clapper and everything. Everyone, locks into place, they do the scene. But then in between those takes, Danny DeVito, he would stay on. He was still engaged. He was still entertaining to watch, even when he wasn't supposed to be watched in that moment. Whereas everyone else, you could kind of watch them deflate, and their temperament would change right when the cameras were not on them anymore. It made me realize how much skill there is in having this on-camera presence and just being very engaging and keeping the audience's attention and not looking like you don't know what you're doing. Getting used to that, sitting in front of a camera, has been, kind of surprisingly challenging. I remember the very first few times I was really putting a camera in front of me, I felt very uncomfortable. Even now it's a little bit weird, but I've gotten pretty used to it. The parts that I need to get more used to are just the filming in public and whatnot. But there's a skill element to it too. It's not just that things are complicated, but you have to be good at them. And it takes a lot of time and practice to get good at them. And of course, I've always understood that you need to get better, there's skills and stuff, but until you really do it, you don't feel the tangibility of what that means. You don't feel the confrontation of your emotions making stuff difficult and uncomfortable until you actually do it. The other day I was filming a video and it was super duper cold outside and super duper windy. And I don't think you can really tell while I'm talking, but when I was watching back the footage, all I could think about was like, man, I was so freaking uncomfortable. At the end of that take, I like got up and I was like, fuck this. I just did not like it. But when you watch footage back of people being on camera, you rarely are thinking about the conditions of the weather around them, even when it is evidently cold, unless it is like torturously cold to the point that like that's the point of the footage. All right, I want to make one last point here, and that's that, let's see if I can remember it. Let's see if I can see. I'm on camera, have to be on. I want to be a little bit more loose for this one, just to experiment with how much I'm outlining stuff versus not. And it's nice to be candid, but if you lose your train of thought, now you just have to listen to me rambling. Who knows how much time I just wasted? 30 seconds, 45 seconds on my precious YouTube video where engagement and retention is so important. Let's lock in. What is the last point? I am so close, it's on the tip of my tongue, and I don't want to have to re-record this take. We're just gonna look at it. Of course. Over time, more and more, I think I'm increasingly coming to the belief that when things look normal, whatever it is, whether it's a video or it's when you drive on the road and you're on the road, or when you're using a tool and things make sense, whenever things make sense, whenever things feel normal, that is miraculous. Because in reality, normal, the average state of things is messy and unclean and sloppy and just not up to snuff. Things make mistakes, people make mistakes. Mistake there. Mistakes are the status quo. Mistakes are the norm. And when something seems put together, when something just seems presentable, that is amazing. I remember watching like comedians a lot. I like stand-up, and they always drink so much water. And I'm like, oh, they're just talking. Are they just so thirsty? And like, I get that talking a lot makes you need to hydrate and stuff, but I didn't really feel it until I had to start recording myself talking in camera for long stretches of time. And the degree to which you get parched when you're not just like talking, but like talking in a presentational way, like towards the camera. You need to project a little bit. You need to carry yourself a little bit. You get so thirsty. If you actually went on stage and talked like how you normally would with a friend, or just like, I don't know, chilling at your desk, sitting in Discord or something, you don't get nearly as thirsty. But if someone put a camera on you, it wouldn't be nearly as normal feeling to watch. It would feel too natural, something along those lines. Let's cut to the conclusion shot. When I was trying to figure out what video I wanted to make today, and that's kind of how I do it, I just decide on the day, here's the video I'm going to do. I take an hour to 2 hours to plan a little bit, and then I come out, pick just a random location, honestly, and film. I knew I wanted to talk about being in front of the camera and how that's a weird, unique experience that the viewer doesn't really get to peer into very much. I'm being very meta here. I'm always so meta, including this comment. But I wasn't sure exactly what the point of this video was going to be, but I think the point is that there's always more going on outside of the frame than you realize. And that's not like a play for sympathy or anything. I'm not like trying to make you go, oh, his job's so hard, it's more complicated and requires more skill and difficulty than it looks. But I think I'm always very interested nowadays about what is going on behind the scenes whenever I look at anything, whether it's videos or other stuff, trying to wonder who made this, what process did they have to go through, what skills did they need to have in advance, stuff like that. Like, why did they make certain decisions? who were like the third parties that influenced the decisions they made or what decisions they were allowed to make. And I think it's good to do that, because the more I learn new things and try stuff hands-on and go through the process myself, the more I experience the granularities of doing different things, I feel like I encounter these very person experiences, very human-based experiences, that when I see people who actually do that thing talk about their process, gives me this like relatable touch point. And it just reminds me more and more that everything, all this stuff around us, most of the stuff we interact with is made by humans, although I guess not nature. But when you try and get closer to that granularity, it really brings out the humanity in just like absolutely everything. And I like that, because I think there's this binding glue that brings all people together in a very, very like kind of romantic way, I suppose. But it is true. It is true. I think that we're all very different, and yet there are just these things that make us similar, even if it's not the exact same similarities between every single person. You try something and you experience the behind the scenes, and it makes you relate more to the people who do that thing and the ways that they're people. I don't know if that made sense, but I guess this is going to be a sloppy little video, and I should wrap it up now. It'll be longer, I'm sure. Here's the postcard of the video. I don't know what it is yet, because I make the postcards after I record the videos. But if you want to get one, you can join the Hello tier on my Patreon. Shoutouts to all my Patreon supporters for allowing me to do this. I really super duper omega ultra appreciate it. And I think that's everything I have for you today. So, bye.